So this time I'm making a spice rack. This was one of those projects that has been an idea floating around for a while, mostly just mentioned in passing. Like, we really need a spice rack. Having all the spice jars in the cupboard makes finding what you're looking for tiresome. Finally got around to realize the spice rack, so with just 2 measurements of the space where it's supposed to hang and a spice jar as the only constraints, I went to work. I'm going to narrate this video less than previous videos because I have a really big project in the work, and the script and voiceover and manufacturing for that project is borrowing time for this project. Alone in the rain. Reality with all its sounds and sensations came roaring in like boulders down a slope. Private Eris Liefeld tried opening his eyes. Thick mud covered most of his face. Eris slowly scraped away the mud with his fingers, carefully cleaned out his eyes as best he could. He could feel the cold rain pouring down his face, mixing with the warm blood oozing from a cut on his forehead. His head throbbed in time with his heartbeat, and the world swayed as though he were adrift at sea. He sat up slowly, his hands sinking into the mud, and he tried to make sense of his surroundings. All around him, the earth was a churned ruin of craters and scattered corpses. The remnants of his platoon lay scattered like broken dolls. Blackened carcasses, some human, some alien, littered the ground. Grotesque shapes illuminated by brief flashes of distant lighting. The acrid stench of burning flesh and alien ichor hung heavy in the air, mixing with the metallic tang of blood. Eris's last memory before the artillery shell had landed was of the charge. The 2nd Infantry Company advancing together with the rest of the 202nd Mechanized Infantry Battalion up the slope towards the alien bastion. They had been so close to breaking through, but the enemy's firepower had been overwhelming. Now, silence reigned, broken only by the relentless drumming of the rain and the occasional explosion in the distance.
"Where the hell is everyone?"
he whispered to no one. His voice sounded thin, swallowed by the night. He forced himself to his feet, every joint screaming in protest. He couldn't find his rifle, but at least his combat knife was still in his sheath. A small comfort, his uniform soaked and heavy with mud. He staggered forward, his boots sinking into the muck with every step, his ears straining for any sound of friendly voices or the telltale skittering of the enemy. The darkness seemed alive, the shadows twisting with unnatural malice. Those creatures were out there, somewhere watching. Eris's breath quickened as he imagined the insectoid horrors lurking just beyond his vision. "Steady," he muttered to himself, his voice trembling. "The lion watches over his own. Stay steady." The prayer felt hollow. He was alone, armed only with a knife, and lost. He didn't know if he was deep behind enemy lines, or in no man's land, or left behind. He didn't even know how long he had been unconscious. The king's light felt very far away. A distant clicking noise froze him in place. Eris dropped to his knees instinctively, pressing himself against a fallen tree. The clicking grew louder, accompanied by wet, sucking noises as something enormous moved through the mud. He could see a turned-over, burnt-out tank about 20 meters away from him. "Get underneath it! Hide!" Eris screamed to himself in his head. He flung himself over the tree trunk and began running towards the remnants of the tank. A piece of barbed wire caught his leg, and he fell with a heavy thud. Bracing himself with his left elbow, he tried to turn over to get his leg loose, when the ground and the mud underneath his elbow gave away and collapsed, exposing a pus-filled, decomposing and now broken ribcage. The putrid stench made Eris's throat close. He desperately tried to get his arm out of the ribcage, but to no avail. The ribs held his arm firm like the incisors of a predator. Through the rain and darkness, Eris saw it. A towering alien beast, its segmented body glistening in the dim light. Its 6 legs ended in scything talons, and its bulbous head was crowned with twitching antennae. The thing paused, its antennae sweeping the air as though scenting for prey. Eris held his breath, his body trembling with terror. The beast turned, its mandibles shimmering as they cut the dark, empty air, and began moving towards him. "By the lion," Eris whispered. He clutched the handle of his knife, but he knew it would be useless. The beast loomed closer, its monstrous frame blocking out the rain as it reared back, mandibles clicking in triumph. Eris shut his eyes, whispering a final prayer to the king. Then the thunder came. Not the sky thunder, but a deep, resonant roar of guns. Explosive rounds tore into the beast's chitinous body, ripping through it like paper. The creature shrieked, staggering back as flashes of light illuminated figures advancing through the rain. The Caroleans! Clad in dark cerulean battle plate, their movements were precise and unyielding, each one an example of the epitome of humanity. Their breastplate bore the sigil of the Lion's Imperium, and their weapon blazed with his divine fury. They moved as one, their guns roaring in unison, tearing apart the alien monstrosity in seconds. Eris could only stare in awe as the Caroleans advanced past him, their armor splattered with rain and ichor. One of them, taller and broader than the others, paused and turned towards him. "Soldier!" The Carolean's voice was deep and amplified through his helmet's voxcom. "Are you injured?" Eris shook his head, his voice failing him. The Carolean gestured another step forward, pulling Eris to his feet with ease. "You're fortunate," the first Carolean said, his tone carrying no judgment, only fact. "The Lion's hand guided us to you. You will walk with us now. We are striking at the Avelian hive." The king wills it," Eris stammered. "But I'm unarmed. I only have knife. I'm just..." "You're a soldier of the Imperium," the Carolean replied, his words as solid as stone. "That is enough." As they moved forward, Eris stayed close, their presence a bulwark against the oppressive darkness. Alien shapes emerged from the shadows, but the Caroleans cut them down with merciless precision, their guns roaring the Lion's holy retribution. For the first time in hours, Eris felt hope. The Caroleans were unstoppable, their every movement a testament to the king's might. As they marched through the rain, Eris whispered a prayer, not for himself, but in gratitude for the Lion's chosen, and though the night was still dark, Eris felt the light of the Lion shining through the storm. I think it came out great. It's rustic, it's clean, it's simple, it's functional. And I also really hope you enjoyed watching me make it.